Thanks for tuning into this presentation of the NBA on 2K Sports. I'm Damon Bruce. Monday Hoops coming up. It'll be LeBron James and the Miami Heat facing off against the Indiana Pacers. And now let's head out to Indianapolis to join Kevin Harlan for opening tip.
Hello, everyone. Kevin Harlan here with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg with Doris Burke on the sideline. There's nothing else like it. The NBA on 2K Sports. Now let's check out the State Farm starting lineups. First for the Heat, Chalmers and Wade are the 1 and the 2. And the man in the middle from UNLV, Joel Anthony. He's a big part of that presence down low. Then it's LeBron James, and it's Bosh in at the 4. And then for the Indiana Pacers, Collison is out there with Paul George. And filling the paint, it's the big man, Roy Hibbert. They utilize his abilities to maintain that presence under the rim. Then there's Danny Granger, and it's Hansbrough in at the 4 slot.
Well, the Pacers handled themselves pretty well against the Eastern Conference last season, 28 and 24. And they seem to be a team on the rise. They've got a lot of young talent, and having made the playoffs last season, they're hoping for more this year.
It'll be the Heat off the tip. Here's Wade. Back to Bosh. Hansbrough defending. Bosh passes to LeBron. Granger with the defensive effort. And for the Pacers last season, finishing 4 games under 500, but they are an ascending ball club as they made the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, they're building it the right way, too. Larry Bird and David Morway putting some pieces together. A nice core group of young, hard-working, talented players. Now you just, there's some salary cap room there. Perhaps you can add a piece or two to elevate your talent base and your experience level. Being patient, not taking shortcuts. They're headed in the right direction.
Good place to play.
Yeah.
Wade working against George. Just 5 on the clock.
Right here.
The 10-footer. And again, LeBron missing. And here's Indiana. Outside Collison. Hansbrough. Now Anthony defending for the 3. A nice shot by George. George has got the first bucket of the game with the 3 for the Pacers.
Well, you have to love what Tyler Hansbrough brought to the Pacers a season ago. The progress he made coming out of North Carolina was really impressive. He's a tough player, competes hard, and his offensive efficiency is impressive.
All right, let's go over to the sideline with Doris Burke.
Kevin, thank you. I caught up with Eric Spoelstra. He told me that they need to play with the kind of intelligence and intensity on defense that has often been their trademark. He said, we win games with our defense. That's no secret. And that's exactly how we plan to win this one. Gentlemen?
Thanks, Doris. Well, guys, give us your thoughts on that.
Well, you know what? I think the game plan for a lot of teams, really good teams, starts with good deep. So it's pretty much what I expected to hear.
And for this club, that's the way it should be. I mean, they need to send a message defensively right away. When you take it to your opponents on the defensive end of the floor, it sets the tone early.
Double team on Bosh. Here's Wade. And the defense didn't have position. They whistle a blocking foul, and he'll go to the line. Now we're going to get to Tyler Hansbrough that Steve was just talking about. You work with in Indiana with the Pacers. His NBA career got off to a tough start when he suffered a serious ear infection that gave him vertigo and affected his balance for quite a while. It was kind of scary.
It really was scary because it took a while to diagnose exactly what was going on with Tyler. And once that was cleared up, he got the treatment and had to stay away from physical activity for a long time. But he was back healthy last season. And I tell you what, you love the way this kid approaches it. Low maintenance, hard working, tenacious and wanting to get better, and really raises the level of intensity of his team in practice and in games. And I think he's going to be a really good player going forward. You knew the big three when they came together, guys, that they would be good. But they did a pretty decent job, I thought, of finding complementary players to fill out the roster after a big chunk of the salaries went to the big three.
It's a look. And Hibbert with the basket on the assist by Hill. Hibbert's got his first bucket in this one. The Heat trail by 5. Well, back to the Heat, and Clark, you're right. They searched out vets that knew how to fill a role and a need and really build a team around the stars.
Well, and that's critical because anytime you have the core group together, it's about finding role players who are going to accept their responsibilities on the team and accept the fact that sometimes they're not going to see the minutes that they would otherwise like. But they handled it well. They got a good roster around their stars, and it paid off.
Outside Hill. Hibbert inside. He's up against Bosch. They get it back. Hansbrough misses. And here are the Heat now. It's a three-point game. Hibbert on the double team. 18 feet away. Bosch can't get it to go.
He thought he made that one.
He sure did. I mean, it was an excellent look. It just didn't go down. Kevin, it's really hard to deny this guy the offensive board if he's got even the slightest position inside. He'll take advantage of any little sliver you give him.
Granger kicks to Hibbert. Working on Bosch. He passes to Hansbrough. He feeds it to Hill. Over Chalmers. And the basket by Hill. Hill's got his first basket of the night. 1:41 left to play here in the first. And Miami calls their first time out of the game.
Well, some missed opportunities offensively, and this is a good timeout. Let these guys get a blow, take a breather, get their legs back under them, and then refocus.
Indiana making some changes. Jeff Foster's checked in for Hibbert. Paul George comes in for Danny Granger. That's Dunleavy in for Brandon Rush. And then for Miami, Joel Anthony's checked in for LeBron. Eddie House subbed in for Mario Chalmers. Here's Wade. He's against Hill. Fades back. Gets it to go.
Well, he could have earned some style points there, but he really doesn't need to use the fadeaway when he's that wide open. Last year, Dwayne Wade up to his usual tricks as he put up another great season, and we've certainly become accustomed to that. He scores, rebounds, and defends.
Shot clock at 6. He tries for 3. No luck. And Miami will go the other way with the ball. Back to Wade for a moment. 25, 5, and 6. Steve, pretty much a standard year for Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, we pretty much take him for granted at this point, and it's a shame because his greatness is just amazing, especially at the offensive end of the floor. And now playing with LeBron and Chris Bosh, what a scary trio for the Eastern Conference to deal with over the next 5-6 years.
House kicks to Anthony. Wade outside. House dishes to Haslam. Over George. And the Heat get another bucket right there.
That mid-range jumper, just another one of his weapons.
Outside Hill. Hansbrough against Bosch. Baseline J on the way. Hansbrough misses. Here is House. Beyond the arc. The shot no good. Plenty of offense in this closely contested first quarter of play. Heat out front. They lead by 3.
big boost from their bench there, guys, in that first quarter. They did a nice job coming in and really giving this team a lift.
Yeah, it's a nice attribute to have. Firepower coming off the pine early. That's good stuff.
And it's more NBA action coming your way here on 2K Sports. And we got a close game here as we get back to the second quarter. Here's Collison. Still looking to get on the scoreboard.
Well, Miami had such a turbulent season last year as far as the drama that surrounded that team. But they were consistent and steady on the road, and they ended up with the best away record in the Eastern Conference.
6 to shoot. Fires top of the key. Gets it to go. Collison's got the first points up on the board here in the second quarter for the Pacers. And back to Miami. You know, Clark, road trips aren't easy when you're the villains of the NBA, and there's no doubt that wanted poster in the NBA has got a picture of that Miami threesome out there, huh?
I agree, no doubt about it. But I think that also helped them come together. You know, teams typically do a good job of bonding when they're on the road. That us against them mentality, nobody for you. And quite honestly, really good teams and players enjoy winning on the road more than they do even winning at home.
Now let's send it to Doris on the sideline.
Well, Kevin, one of the staples of the Heat's success last season was their defense. LeBron said, we start with defense, and if we get stops, then it's open court for us. Perhaps the biggest part of their success was their intensity and athleticism on the defensive end, turning into transition points on the offensive end. They are fearsome on the break, guys. Back to you.
All right, Doris.
Make no mistake about it. They were an incredible team on defense last season.
Yeah, no question about that. They finally were broken in that final series against Dallas, but throughout the playoffs until the finals, Miami's defense was spectacular.
House the pass to Miller. Anthony up on top. Miller outside. House over Collison. The shot by House is no good. Outside Collison. Nick Roberts down low. A jump hook. And there are the Pacers with another bucket.
You know, they'll want to generate more of those shots in tight, guys.
Here is House. Timeout called, the Heat. Some changes for Indiana. Roy Hibbert's checked in for Foster. Granger comes in for George. And it's Rush in for Mike Dunleavy. And then for Miami, Chris Bosh is checked in for Joel Anthony. Wade comes in for Udonis Haslem. And it's Chalmers in for Eddie House. Knocked loose.
It's their first turnover here, so they've done an excellent job of taking care of the basketball. One of the reasons they have this lead.
Three-pointer, Granger, and the Pacers another three.
When the Heat struggled early on last season, Eric Spoelstra was unfairly thrown on the hot seat. He kept his cool, though, very impressively, and the Heat turned their season around and the talk quieted down. It's a credit to Spoelstra.
Can they get it? It's rebounded by Indiana. It's a 2-point differential. Guys, they've been getting it done.
They sure have been. I mean, really looking good and sharp offensively.
Yeah, knocking down the open shots and really getting a nice flow to their game.
Back to Spoelstra in Miami. Clark, with the way the Heat finished, you have to think things will change. I know, Steve, you were very impressed with the way he managed that team in the postseason.
Yeah, I thought Eric Spoelstra was great. Now, a lot of people are focusing on the final series when Rick Carlisle stole the show, but to be fair to Spoelstra, he inherited a very difficult situation with a lot of talent but huge expectations. And I think Miami had a solid year, a very good year. The question now is, can they get back to the finals and finish the job? Credit the defense, but you've got to be more careful with the ball.
Now Collison. Backing down is Hibbert. Jumper off the screen. Indiana again missing.
Now, normally that's a shot people make, but that's not really his bread and butter there.
And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
Thinking back to LeBron, you'd have to think he'd go about the way he left Cleveland slightly different in retrospect if he had a chance to redo it and rewind a bit.
And Clark, getting back to what you said about LeBron and that whole July of last year when he made this decision and made it so public, I think Cleveland fans were probably ticked off on many levels. They didn't like the show. They didn't like the way it was handled. They didn't like finding out over the air. And Steve, I'm sure you could agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think it was so much his decision to leave as a free agent. It's just the way he went about it. He could have handled it better. He knows that now. He's apologized. But because of the way it was handled, I think Cleveland fans will not be feeling too good about LeBron for a long, long time.
You know, for the Pacers last season, it was encouraging for them to make the playoffs, but it can't obscure the hard work that's still left ahead. I mean, they only won 37 games in the regular season. They would have needed 9 or 10 more wins to make the playoffs in the West, so they've still got a ways to go.
Clark, you mentioned the 37 wins. That was 25 less than the Chicago Bulls team they faced in the first round.
Sure was, yeah.
Steve?
Well, even with that said, Kevin, it was a very competitive series. It went 5 games, but every single game went down in the stretch.
And he makes the first.
Danny Granger, Kevin, grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and after Hurricane Katrina, as you might imagine, he did a lot to help that town and also help a lot of his family members, too.
He hits both from the stripe. Going back to Danny Granger, Steve, he moved about 17 of his family members up to Indiana. Got a big house, moved in with them.
Wow.
And they double him up with LeBron. A leaner nails it. 6 points for Chris Bosh.
I think their only hope now, Clark, is to slow him down with a double team.
Well, they got to stop the bleeding, put the tourniquet on, and she's been tough to play straight up.
Let's check out what Doris Burke has for us.
Well, Kevin, some may have questioned Coach Eric Spoelstra throughout the 2010-2011 campaign, but LeBron James was sold from the get-go. His quote towards Spoelstra, "I have Coach Spro's back," or whatever the case may be. James said, "This is who we have." Sounds like he's confident enough, Kevin.
All right, Doris.
Yeah, I think Eric Spoelstra did a really good job under very difficult circumstances a year ago. And by the end of the season, I think he really earned the trust of those players.
Granger, good. 30 seconds left to play in the first half. Collison against Chalmers. LeBron against Granger. Wade, defended by George. Jacks up a 3, and LeBron gets it to go with the assist by Wade. LeBron's now got 5 points in the quarter. One second left, and that's not going to go. Heat lead by 3.
It's the HP halftime show. Out in Indianapolis, the action has been good. We've seen the Heat slugging it out. They've gone to their bench for the spark, and it's fired. Big scoring off the pine. LeBron is their leading scorer. He's got 7 points and also sharing it around with a few assists. And slugging it out so far, the Indiana Pacers. Sharp shooting from downtown, they're raining triples nonstop. Danny Granger, the leading scorer. He's up to 9 points and has been a huge helper on the boards as well. And we check out the players leading their teams in scoring. A lot of offense coming from these two. And now we'll send you back to Indianapolis. See you next time on 2K Sports at the Half.
Welcome back, everyone. The second half about to get underway, and it's been a close one so far. Here's Collison. The alley-oop pass. Granger. Hibbert hits the bucket. Hibbert's got the first field goal of the second half for the Pacers. The Heat with the lead. LeBron kicks to Bosh, moving the ball well. Now, here's Chalmers. Leans, and it's Bosh, that time on the assist by Chalmers. 8 points for Chris Bosh.
Well, Miami last season, despite their struggles as they tried to find that rhythm with their new big three, they ended up finishing second in the NBA in team field goal percentage.
Hansbrough a screen on Chalmers. Stolen by Bosh. Here's Wade. The rebound by Hansbrough. Hansbrough's got 4 rebounds in this game. Steve, getting back to the Heat, you look at who is taking their shots, and it isn't surprising to see the shooting percentage, Clark, I'm sure for you too, so high.
Well, I mean, you look at LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, all were right around 50% from the floor and accounted for 67% of the team field goal tries. So, you know, it's hard to blame them for taking that higher percentage of the shots when they were making so many of them.
And the Heat call time here.
Well, the Pacers historically have always been tough on their home court, and last season was no different. 24-17 in Indianapolis. It's one of the reasons the Pacers made the playoffs.
Here's Chalmers. And here's Wade. The feed to LeBron. Anthony backing him down. 6 on the shot clock. No good on his first attempt of the game. Indiana trailing here. Outside Collison. Chalmers against Granger. Pulls it up. And that misses. That would have put him up.
I'll tell you what, despite the miss, he shouldn't hesitate to take those kinds of looks when he gets them. That's a good shot.
And what I love about Danny Granger is he's really good at both ends of the floor. A versatile defender. He can rebound. And, of course, offensively, he's dynamic.
Chalmers against Collison. Lets it fly. No one on him, and he makes the easy one. Hansbrough's got his second basket of the game. You know, the one thing that's held Danny Granger back early in his career, he's had some injury issues to deal with.
Yeah, he has, but last season I thought he was pretty healthy, and he carried the burden for the Pacers offensively. If he can get a little help in that area, though, I think it would serve him very well. Well, I like that he's come up with some big baskets for this team to help in getting this lead.
Chalmers against Collison. He kicks to George. The dish now to Hansbrough. He gathers, lifts up, and the layup falls. Hansbrough's got 6.
you know, he can actually be dominant inside. I mean, it's impossible to push him around on the low block.
Wade outside. Here's LeBron. It's hauled in by George.
Defense a little shaky there, and he had a good look.
Wade picks him up. Backing down is Hibbert. For the lead. Hansbrough misses. It's a neck-and-neck game here in Indiana. Chalmers dishes to LeBron. Anthony with the screen on George. On the wing, Dwayne Wade. He's covered by Collison. Wade, again the Heat, good for 2.
And across the board, his stats, just amazing.
Well, he's monogrammed this game in a big way.
So the Pacers call timeout, their first of the game.
They don't seem to have any answers for him. They need to review their game plan and look for a way to cool him off.
Some changes for Indiana. Brandon Rush, he's checked in for Paul George. And George Hills subbed in for Darren Collison. Udonis Haslem, he's checked in for Miami. Miller comes in for LeBron. .139 left here in the third quarter. And there's the basket. Whistle blows and a chance for a three-point play. Going to the line for 1.
I'm just so impressed with the work Roy Hibbert has put in since his final year at Georgetown. He's lost a lot of weight. He's gotten himself in terrific condition, and he's a very skilled player down on the block.
He can't complete the three-point play. And Steve, you're right about Roy Hibbert. Last season got off to a hot start. He had lost about 25 pounds doing martial arts. All those different workouts associated with that over the summer. He also addressed an undetected asthma problem, which Clark helped his endurance.
Yeah, it did help his endurance, but I think as the season went on, Roy thought maybe he had gotten too light by year's end, and now he's gotten back up to around 260. And again, it's not just what you weigh, but it's what kind of strength you have and where is the weight. He needs a little more lower body strength than anchoring, and the right kind of weight and muscle is going to continue to allow him to be a very effective center in the NBA. Well, neither team has really gained an edge rebounding-wise here, and the score reflects that.
Well, if one team can start hitting the boards harder, I mean, it'll give them a good chance to pull away.
And Bosch picks him up defensively. Granger against Wade. The shot's good from Granger.
Now, it's hard to imagine them not running away with this game if they can continue to shoot the ball like they have been.
Steve, everything is falling for them this half, and they haven't had any empty possessions, scoring on every trip.
Granger against Miller. Chalmers. And again, it's the Heat missing. 17 seconds left to play in the third. Hill with it. Back to Granger. Fires from deep. And unable to corral the miss, and it goes out of play. Here's Miller. To halt the run. That misses, would have counted had it gone in. And a great show through 3 quarters as we enter the fourth. Who will carry the day? One of the stories here, Danny Granger getting it done today.
Well, we know he can score, so it's not really a huge shock to see him put up these kind of big numbers.
And I would think that he most likely will continue to carry on this kind of play into the fourth.
Back in a moment from Indianapolis. Fourth quarter getting going here. It's time for our Sprite Spark of the Game report. Let's go to Doris Burke.
Hey, Kevin, for that great stretch the Pacers put together, they get the Sprite Spark Award. The changing point in this game was when they got hot in the third quarter and opened things up. They'll look to keep that level of play as we head into the final period.
All right, Doris, thank you. That run has made a difference, guys. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what got them off and going.
Yeah, they were really able to seize the momentum at that point, and they just rode it.
Here is House. He's guarded by Hill. House, the pass to LeBron. Lock at 6. So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up, and 2 shots coming up.
Well, last year in the playoffs, LeBron was up to his usual tricks. He felt good about not having to carry the same load as he always had to, though, and that relieved him a bit and made him better in my mind.
Free throw good, LeBron. Go back to LeBron. You know, Clark, he didn't have to carry the load like he did up in Cleveland, but he still had some big-time shots for the Heat. And Steve, not necessarily in the regular season, but really in the postseason. That's where he stepped up big time.
Yeah, particularly in the first 3 rounds. In the finals, remember, he kind of took a step backwards, but in that Chicago series, he made some enormous shots in that series. He was so good offensively. And then all of a sudden against Dallas, it was like he lost his confidence. So he's still a little bit of a work in progress in terms of it all together.
And here's Hill for 3, and it's Haslam with the rebound. Haslam's got 4 rebounds in this game. Here is House. LeBron outside, lobs the alley-oop pass. Oh, man! It's all knotted up.
I tell you what, I bet that's the best assist we're going to see tonight.
Well, he laid it up there, Steve, a pass where only his teammate could get it.
Perfect timing. I mean, that's what you need to make that kind of a connection.
Now Hill. Feeds it to Dunleavy. Leads him in there. Here is McRoberts. A nice shot by Jordan.
He's put on an offensive clinic. They've got to deny him the ball.
And if that fails, then double him, Steve. I mean, they can't allow him to continue to hurt him like this.
Timeout called, the Heat.
Well, you knew Miami would be a new big power in the East with the big 3 in tow. They didn't disappoint, blowing right by their conference win total from the prior season.
I think Doris Burke has something for us right now. Doris?
Well, guys, I was able to listen in on what Eric Spoelstra was going over with his team in that last huddle. With clearly a tough mountain to climb in front of them, he tried to pick his team up, saying, guys, I know we've got our best basketball ahead of us. It's time to step up and fight our way back into this one. Guys, let's watch it play out.
There's a screen. LeBron outside. He's picked up by Hill. Good look. Bosh misses. Indiana leading. Outside Hill. To the inside. Here's Granger. Good. The assist goes to Hill. Hill's got his 3rd assist on the night. And here's Miami. Now, here is Haslam. Backing down is LeBron. It's good, and he drew contact on the shot, so he will go to the line. A 3-point play chance here.
An excellent game we've seen from LeBron. He's got 13 points, then he's picked up 4 at the line in this one. Getting it done there as well.
But you always want to get to the line as often as you can. Execute the free throws. So important to a team's success, controlling the foul line.
Free throw, no good for LeBron. And Indiana has possession. The lead is 2. Here is McRoberts, covered by LeBron. Lets it go with a 3. Gets it to go. And the Pacers lead by 5.
Boy, I like the fluidity I'm seeing from them on offense. It's a thing of beauty. Fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. They're moving the ball well, finding the open man, making that extra pass. They're playing very unselfishly right now.
And he'll shoot free throws here. Clearly fouled on that shot that time. The whistle blowing.
You know, there was a lot of speculation last year about Dwayne Wade thinking of going to his hometown Chicago. But it turns out he was the guy orchestrating the big 3 in Miami.
He's off on the first. You're right, Clark, talking about Wade. Not a bad recruitment job, and even through 1 year, it's had its bumps worked out, Steve, and it's obviously flying very high with their finals appearance a season ago.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing, and what a job by Wade in recruiting a couple of stars to go along with him, and maybe someday he'll be a college recruiter at Marquette, his alma mater. We'll see.
And he can't get the second one to drop either. Coming up empty that time. Outside Collison. Hansbrough inside, defended by Chalmers. Takes it up, makes it off the glass. And it's a 7-point Pacer lead.
Well, I bet you he'd like to forget that first half that he had. It's nice to see him bounce back here in the second.
Wade, a screen on Collison. Over rush, and there's Dwayne Wade on the assist by Chalmers. 10 points for Wade. Pacers leading by 5. Timeout called the Pacers. Paul George, he's checked in for Brandon Rush. The Heat also changing it up. Chris Bosh is checked in for Augustus. Haslam comes in for Juwan Howard. And it's LeBron in for Mike Miller. Here's Granger. Outside Collison. Hansbrough is screen on Bosh. 5 on the clock. The shot's good from Granger. Granger's got 4 this quarter.
And you can see the strategy has been to take the ball inside here.
That's where you get high percentage looks and draw fouls, Steve, and it's a good way to play. You know, guys, you look at it, 1 turnover in the game, sometimes that can get overlooked, but I think it shows how well he's playing. I mean, he's really making the most of every possession.
Backing down is Hibbert. Wade picks him up. It's stolen by Wade.
Excellent steal that time. Pesky defensive play on this ball.
LeBron, that's a 2-pointer, and the rebound goes to the Pacers. Hansbrough's got 6 rebounds now in the game.
Oh, they're now +5 in the rebound category, really controlling the glass.
And rebounding is one of those non-glamorous stats. I mean, it takes work and effort and tenacity and physicality. But when you look at the scoreboard, you can see the correlation.
And Chalmers kicks to Haslam. Granger knocks it away. Pacers leading by 7. George dishes to Granger. They're moving the ball. Haslam on him. Fade away. Granger with the bucket.
That's probably going to do it. They are just putting this team away.
Steve, I thought they caught fire just at the right time, blowing this one wide open as the clock winds down.
And the Heat call time here. They're trailing by 9. 51 seconds left to play in the final quarter. Here's Chalmers. Wade outside. Takes it up. Uses the glass to finish the layup.
He's done a ton to help his team, guys, and he may have to do more if they're going to come back and win.
And here's Collison. Granger outside. 6 on the shot clock. Over LeBron. Offensive rebound. Outside Collison. So it's Indiana picking up the win. It was a solid win, Clark.
Yeah, it was, and I think it came down to will more than skill. They went out and got this one.
And that about wraps it up for Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke. This is Kevin Harlan thanking you for watching the NBA presented by 2K Sports. And now, Jordan presents our player of the game, Danny Granger.